What is going on, everyone? We are going over the trades that I have taken this week. One was a win, one was a loss, and that win brought us a $9,000 payout. And here you go. And we did get that across 3 counts. And so now we switched over to Alpha Futures because I heard good things about it, and we took a loss on our first day of it. But that is perfectly fine. And here's proof. So we did take a loss. Account summary of $340 on all 3 accounts. But let's get into it. All right, so let's start off with our bias. So we're on our 4 hour, and here was my train of thought. So I saw that price did reach that 4 hour fair value gap yesterday on yesterday's dump, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. I knew price wasn't really going to go there since it tapped it already. It reached every single fair value gap in this leg, so I thought price was going to push past all-time highs. So I was ultimately very bullish today. I saw an inverse fair value gap right here on the 1 hour. We had another 1 hour fair value gap right here. Confident that price was going to disrespect all this liquidity and break past all-time highs and continue pumping. Today's news was going to be important, but I didn't think it was going to be that important, but it really was if you saw the horrific dump that happened. I'm not sure what happened really. I wasn't paying attention to the news event. So I'm dropping down to 30-minute, and I'm just seeing, okay, we're in a confluence area. We could already take this trade. So, and why am I thinking that? Because we've already hit our 4 hour fair value gap, all the swing legs on the 4 hour. Now we've already hit all the swing legs on the 1 hour. And so we're just continually dropping time frames, seeing what fair value gaps are unfilled, seeing if price will retrace to them. And we got a new swing leg where all the fair value gaps have been filled and respected. So just continuously dropping down time frames. So I'm looking for an entry, and price opens and takes off. Could have taken this trade, but I didn't. And it's because, one, I think the nervous jitters got to me. I don't know why. I was feeling very emotional today. Maybe it was just lack of sleep. I went to bed super late. I don't know. Even after making money off the markets, you still get emotional. You still get fear. Or not fear, nervousness, the jitters. I got the jitters. For some reason, I didn't take this trade. So this was an order block. Why? Because it was a liquidity sweep. Then we had a displacement towards the liquidity swept candle. So that was an OB. We had an inverse fair value gap right here. So that was disrespected. Then we also had a fair value gap right here, the 1 minute fair value gap. And that was for my 15-minute later. That's going to show the loss. So this is the trade I should have taken, but like I said, I got the jitters. I didn't. And it was really dumb that I didn't take it, because I would have made a good amount of money. So we will get on to the trade I did take. So I wasn't going to take a trade all the way up here. I did think price was going to continue to push up. So I was just waiting for the news to come out. We had a 15-minute fair value gap formed right here, as you can see. So I dropped down to the 1 minute, and I started looking for an entry. And I also had a bad entry. So we had our first confluence. We had a liquidity sweep. We had a displacement candle. That's an order block right there. Then we were waiting for an inverse. We had a fair value gap next, which I should have waited for. MSSS. Then we also had an inverse fair value gap. I entered right in after the inverse fair value gap, which I knew I should have waited for the retracement, but I don't know what I was really thinking. I kind of entered about here. I set my stop loss here, and I went just for a 1-to-1, hoping price would reach these highs again. And I was barely in the positive. I don't even think that was the most I was in the positive right there. It was a really bad trade. I should have done the retracement tool to the next confluence, which would have been here, because this was already filled, and we would have set this for 1-to-2. I was going to reach these equal highs. Price just moved perfectly right there, and then it dumped, dude, like minutes after. So this was my bias of the day. So I marked out the confluences I saw. We also had a inverse fair value gap right here. So I did say to the community, I said, good morning. I don't have the clearest bias today. We have bullish pressure. We have a 1 hour inverse fair value gap. We have a 4 hour inverse fair value gap, but not enough bullish confluences to retrace to. And I said, I could see price do 3 things today. 1, just have a dead day where we just chop. 2, have a little sell off to one of these higher time frame confluences, because I was talking about up here, we don't have enough higher time frame confluences for a price to just keep pushing up. That was my opinion, and my opinion turned out to be correct. I also said 2, just to have a little sell off back to these confluences right here. Plus we also had a daily fair value gap. And then I said, or the last thing is we could do is just pump like a mother trucker. Inverse right here. Oops, sorry. And that's really all we had. We had another inverse here. So we did have bullish structure, but the structure wasn't made yet. So I was honestly going to just see what happens. So I dropped down to 30. So I was thinking price would retrace to one of these areas or take a trade off this area. So I dropped down to the 1 minute since we were in the 30-minute fair value gap. And I was just seeing if we could get any confluences or for an entry model. So here's the best learning moment about right now. This was a very bad trade. I explained it in the Discord. I should have never taken this trade. I was lucky to have won. Now, even now, I was just confused about my own thinking. I don't know what's been wrong with me this week. It's been a rough week for me. But, well, I do know what I was thinking. So price pumped as soon as market opened. So I was like, okay, we have a market structure shift. We have a fair value gap all the way down here. Okay, so I said, and I did my retracement like usual, and I went to the 50% because that was the closest retrace, and I just went for a 1-to-1, and that's all I had. That was a trade, really. I'm so serious. I'll pop it up right now. I genuinely don't know what I was thinking this week. It was super dumb.